Hello friends, this is Amit. I am going to explain about Hibernate. Here I would like to explain Hibernate basic concept, definition of Hibernate. Even we have a JDBC, then why Hibernate required ORM like object relational mapping, architecture of Hibernate, basic setup to write first Hibernate program, basic concept of Pojo classes, first core Hibernate programs, and later we will discuss in depth of Hibernate. Basically, first I would like to build up your interest in Hibernate program. Please follow my video without skipping. And first I would like to explain about what is a Hibernate. So simply we can see that Hibernate is a persistence framework which is used to implement persistence operation or DB operation. Hibernate framework implemented by Red Hat and architect designed by Gavin King. So Hibernate is a ORM tool. Same thing here, history of Hibernate. In 2001, Gavin King and team developed one EJB2 style entity bin. That is a main concept of ORM tools, but here what the problem is there, EJB2 style entity bin little bit complex. When we going to implement it, it have some complexity, and when we deploy this EJB entity bins, then it will must have a EJB container. Outside that it we cannot deploy it. So those complexity that Gavin King and Red Hat simplify and introduce the new ORM tool that called ORM. So, Hibernate ORM. So we can see we also see that Hibernate is a ORM object relational mapping tool and best among all other persistence framework like IBAT, Toplink, JDO and etc. Hibernate can be implemented either with XML approach that we called Hibernate Core, that is a 3.1 version, or less than 3.1, and after that they introduce new approaches that called annotation approach that will be implemented with 3.2 or any latest approach. So the first up to 3.1 that we are saying Hibernate Core, and latest version we are saying Hibernate annotation. But main thing is that either we going to implement Hibernate Core or annotation. Both was implemented on top of JDBC technology. When we are writing a JDBC code to implement data operation, we need to write some 7, 8 or 10 line or 25 or 50 line code. But where we see that all are the code duplication, like taking a connection, releasing a resource kind of thing, and only 2 or 3 steps that dynamically change by one connectivity to other connectivity. So here we will going to explain the same thing here I added in this slide. Like Hibernate is a persistence framework, it is a ORM, and it is a best among all other ORM tool like IBAT, Toplink, JDO, etc. I will explain why I am saying that it is a best among all other ORM tool. But first, here what I am going to explain about that, when we are implementing a persistence logic with JDBC, we need to write that at least basic this 7 line code. Here what I am trying to explain is why it is a, before we have a JDBC, then why we required a Hibernate or any other ORM tool. So basically when we going to write any database connectivity code, basically we have to write this 7 line connectivity code. So for example, first we will wrote that get the connection, that is either the data manager or the data source. After that we create the required statement. After that we prepare the SQL statement. After that we submit the query, then process the request. If something is happened during with that, then some exception will throw. That exception we will manage under the catch block, or in during that 1 2 3 4 5 we utilize some resource, then finally we clean the resource in the 7 step. Here we see that For example, we're going to store one customer object on the database that filled customer name and customer ID. So this connectivity is required. So that will start to connectivity, they release the resource, they handle the exception, all kind of thing. Again, for example, we have come the requirement store the employee object, same employee name and ID. Again, we have to write the connection for the data manager, data source related to connectivity. We have to create a require statement, we have to prepare SQL, all the 7 process we have to start 1 to 7. But just think, this is a unnecessarily thing like getting a connection, cleaning a resource, handling a exception, kind of thing. All the red 1, 2, 3, 5 and 7 means that will be create a code duplication, as well as this is unnecessary, where developer, if we want to develop application, then he cannot always focus on the business logic. So here ORM come with the solution. He will take care unnecessarily thing like creating a connection, establish the connection, clean up the resource, handle the exception. This kind of thing ORM tool automatically handle. Then what developer have to do? Developer completely focus on the business logic. He have to write the code, he have to create a particular object, and he have to do whatever he want, and just he have to call few predefined method, or he have to do that already provided by that tools. Through automatically that object will be stored inside the database. So that is a main basic concept what the JDBC is not provided, and what the ORM tool is provided. Through that we can easily handle this persistence logic, this persistence operation, and through that we can achieve top good code quality also. One other thing is there. For example, right now we are going to store our data in MySQL. Further future, somehow we got the requirement to change our database like MySQL to Oracle. So we see that we are always going to write a query that will be MySQL query is different, Oracle query is different. So we have to change our logic, we have to change our connectivity code, we have to change our query. So we have to change exact business logic to change the database. So this is a other burden for the developer. So here what the ORM provided, they provided a object oriented query language that automatically we have to write some particular query language, and that automatically query language will be changed as we specify. Right now we will add that, and we are going to store the MySQL, so it will be stored in the MySQL. Further, the same code, if we say that no, now I am going to store in the Oracle, then the code will be object will be saved on the database. So here dependency of query is reduced. Now not reduced, it will be not there. So this basically two things is there that will be provided by ORM tool that not available in the JDBC before of that. That's why we are trying to move Hibernate to JDBC, JDBC to Hibernate. So what I explain here, the same thing in this slide, most of the all red color, it is a repeated, and that will be create a code duplication problem. But here ORM tool will be provide that automatically what the dynamic code is there, we have to write that much thing only. Unnecessarily code we no need to write here. And what I already explained that before of that. So when we going to implement a persistence operation through a Hibernate ORM tool, so Hibernate is provided a two-way with XML approach, that is called Hibernate Core 3.2 or latest version, or annotation approach, that is the latest version, that is called Hibernate Annotation, or any other latest version after 3.2. But that is a main thing, that is the best thing is that both approaches top of the JDBC technology. So this is a fourth thing before to starting a Hibernate coding, that must you have know the basic concept of core Java, XML, Pojo classes, and database. Database means means how you can install the any database like Oracle, MySQL, anything, and very basic query like create a database, drop a database, create a table, drop a table, show the table, and this kind of thing. So this thing you must have little bit idea. And one thing I would like to explain about before going to depth or before going to start the coding. So I always see that this Hibernate is a ORM, object relational mapping tool, and it is the best among all other ORM tool like IBAT, TopLink, JDO. So why means I just want to explain about the very basic concept, what the Hibernate is provided and what we are going to do here. So Hibernate system is responsible to taking the connection, creating a statement, and releasing a resource. Hibernate system is responsible to generate a SQL query that be required. Hibernate system is responsible to generate the value required for primary key. They provided many algorithm that automatically generate a primary key. If that is not enough, then we can write our logic, we can write our algorithm to generate a primary key. Other thing is that Hibernate supported various mapping styles like a simple mapping, collection mapping, inheritance mapping. Inside the inheritance mapping, table per subclass mapping, table per class mapping, table per concurrent class mapping. They also provided association mapping like one to one, one to many, many to many, and they also provided other mapping concept also. Here we can manage Hibernate connection in many way like a driver manager connection, data source connection. Here we can manage a transaction in many way like a JDBC transaction, JTA transaction. Here Hibernate have inbuilt approach to support a batch update. Here Hibernate provided a various caching mechanism. Here Hibernate also provided a many more object oriented query language like HQL, QBC, QBE, native SQL, named SQL, etc. So main thing is that I just want to explain about Hibernate system use many persistence best practices and force to developer to use them for better persistence and better performance. Even means this tool is provided all the features. Even some beginner want to write a code, then must be ensure that code quality must be a very good, because the tool provided take care about the unnecessarily thing and developer only dealing with the business logic. So this is the code, first code that we have to understand about this thing. Here 4 object is there, that all Hibernate moving around that 4 object only. If we understand the behavior of that 4 object, we understand what is that 4 object, and then we can know each and everything. So yes. So Hibernate code start with that configuration. So what is a configuration? Configuration is a class that is available in org.hibernate.cfd package, and this is the first class that will be instantiated during the Hibernate application. You can use configuration or annotation configuration class for 2 tasks: calling a configure method or calling a build session factory method. So here this is a class, configuration is the class. We are calling configuration equal to new configuration. Through that configuration object is created. After that, through that configuration object, we are calling a configure method. Here some operation will happen. we will explain about after the one lab, means how the life cycle is going and what that configuration method is doing. Now this time we just try to understand through that new configuration we created configuration object, and after that configuration object we will call configure. So after this same configuration object we will call build session factory. Through that build session factory object is created. Once the session factory object is created, no longer use of this configuration object. So what we are doing with that session object, through that session object we are calling a open session, and through open session object is created. So session means one time duration where user can do multiple tasks. So that session is created by the open session factory through help of session factory object. And after that session dot begin transaction means transaction is started. Once the transaction is started means they establish the connection and they ready to save our object in some database through that persistence operation. And here I just created one customer object and just session dot save. So customer object is saved. If something is happened during that, then it will be throw exception here. I would like to just explain one more time that 4 object is configuration, session factory, session and transaction. That is the only main core thing of that Hibernate. So what we are starting first, we are instantiating configuration class. Through that default constructor like a configuration equal to new configuration, and through that object we are calling a configure method, and here after that we are calling a build session factory method through help of configuration. So once we call the build session factory object is created. Once the session factory object is created, we are not going to utilize this configuration. So no longer use of that configuration after creating this session factory object. After that session is there, so session factory dot open session, through that we are creating a session. Session means one time duration where user can do multiple tasks. After that we created here transaction, so we'll begin transaction. So this method will be called through the session object, and once it is called it will be create a transaction object. So after that we have a customer object. We just create a customer object through that default parameterized constructor. I will just store this object by session dot save. So that complete code is dependent to 4 things: transaction, configuration, session and session factory. So same thing I note down here. The Hibernate runtime object is configuration, that is a class, session factory, that is an interface, session, that is interface, and transaction, that is interface. So this is a main thing, basic thing: configuration, session factory, session and transaction. And if we see a Hibernate architecture, then we will see that our client application is here and they are dealing with configuration, session factory and session. Few other thing is there, don't worry about right now. I will explain about after one lab or one coding session. And here this object will be stored under the DB through that persistence operation. So this is the 4 basic thing, and this is a Hibernate architecture that configuration, session factory, session and transaction help to achieve our persistence operation, and through that we can store our object in the database. So what I explained there, the same thing is happen here. That is that code here, configuration equal to new configuration. So this code dependent to Hibernate core that I explained about that. If we going to implement a Hibernate, they provided a 2 approach, either a Hibernate core, either the Hibernate annotation. So when we are writing a configuration something equal to new configuration, means it will be a point out that this is a Hibernate core. And same code, if we want to add here annotation, so we have to do this thing, that red color part. So what we are doing, a configuration equal to new configuration, here we have to instantiate the class of annotation configuration. annotation configuration some object name equal to new annotation configuration. So we will change that annotation configuration. So in this code, that is the only one change in the core and in annotation. We have to move configuration to annotation configuration. We have to instantiate it configuration class if we want to use Hibernate Core up to 3.2 or less version, or we have to instantiate annotation configuration if we want to use annotation version or any 3.2 to latest version. So this is the thing here. Another code is there, we will take about, so just try to explain about the same thing what I explained about as a theoretical. We will take here and we will start the coding part. So before starting the coding part, you must have one MySQL or any other database that you want. So I just install MySQL, that is a 5.0 version. So if you also use the same version, that it's a very easy, we're not going to use any latest version. So just install 5.0 and I just check that. Yeah, so once you just download that MySQL, and after that, once the download is complete, just install it, and after the installation you see that this kind of thing here, like a my program. Here you will get this MySQL. So you see that inside that MySQL you will get one MySQL server configuration kind of thing. So after the installation, you just run this configuration. During that, you have to provide a username and password as well as which port you want to run. So by default port, if you want change, then through that MySQL configuration wizard you can change it. So I will check that. So after moving that MySQL, just check that how many database is there. So that SQL query the show databases. So show database, this all the databases is there, but I am going to utilize that visual path. So just type use visual path. So database change. So just check that how many table is there. So tables. So now we don't have any tables. So after that, what you will do, you can use any ID. I preferred Eclipse. You can utilize STS or any kind of another ID also. So preferred just install any Eclipse, and through that we can understand the Hibernate behaviors. So here first basic example, I don't want to create any complication. So what I am going to do, just I am going to do new Java project, just a Java project, and yeah, I'm going to write a Hibernate core. So just Hibernate core 2, and yeah, few library I added already here. So this library you have to add. After this example, we will see that how we can directly create through the Maven. But first itself, I don't want to create any complexity, so that you can directly download the Hibernate 3.1 or 3.0. Through that you can get all the jars here. Like that, you just import that jar here and just create one package. I created the visual path dot hibernate, and yes, yeah. So this is the customer. This is a very simple Pojo classes. I would like to remove that all codes. Through that I can explain very easily. So now this customer class have CID, CNAME, email ID, phone and CT. That 5 field is there that I would like to store on the database. So what we will do here, just create one default constructor first, like a customer. And we need one parameterized constructor also. So all the field other than this we are going to use as a primary key, this one. So primary key we not create, as I already explained about that. Hibernate is responsible to generate a primary key automatically, so we are not going to deal with the primary key. So other than primary key, we will write here like a string CNAME and string email ID, and after that we have a double phone and we have string CT. This 5 field is there, so we want to initialize here. So how will initialize? So we'll initialize through this dot CNAME equal to CNAME. Again the same thing I will do with another field, this dot email ID equal to email ID. Other is that this dot phone equal to phone, and this dot CT equal to CT. So what is this means here? This means current instance object, this all global variable. So just try to understand this dot CNAME, it is a pointing this one or this one. So I just change this name CNAME dot one. So we see that this will create a compile time program error. So here means it is a pointing to this and this is a pointing here. So here we will see that no effect, because this dot CNAME equal to the same, so no effect is here. So no longer utilization of this one string dot CNAME. So this dot CNAME means this CNAME and CNAME means this CNAME. So when we will call this, so this is the main thing we are going to store. So when we will call through that constructor, then we'll pass this field cname equal to something, email id equal to something, phone equal to something, ct equal to something, and then we will initialize this dot cname equal to cname, means we'll store some value here, we will store some value here, store some value here, we'll store some value for ct. So through that we will initialize that. So here this constructor means through that instantiation, and here means initialization, or through that instantiation or initialization. See, after that we want to do some getter and setter operation, then we will generate this thing here. So what I wrote here, that constructor, we can generate through that also, like that. Here we will go to the source and we'll click here constructor using a field, and after that it automatically generated. So same thing I am going to do with setter getter. So here generate a setter getter is there, so we'll select all and we will generate it. And this is just a Pojo class, and here I would like to explain one very basic concept. Through that I just try to create an object of that object. After that we will delete this main test class, because this main test class we are not going to utilize in Hibernate operation. So we'll just create one main method. So in the main method I just want to create a customer. So this customer, visual path Hibernate customer, like a city 1 or city just customer equal to new customer, through that parameterize. So here we will want to create a cname, anything like Amit, and email id anything like Amit @ xyz anything, phone anything, and city just Chennai. So I just created this object. I would like to print this object here. Chennai is a string, so we have to store under the double quote. Okay, so I just run this city. Then we see that something is coming, like a package name, @ and some hexadecimal value here. So if you're not able to see here, just wait. Yeah, so it is showing like that, com.visualpath.hibernate.customer, that is the same package name, after that @ and some hexadecimal value. Okay, leave that. And this is the same code. I don't want to change anything here, I just want to change here. So I just want to implement same thing, toString method here. So I just source and here generate a toString, all the field, and okay. So what is there? Just override the toString method. What is it? Why overriding? Because this toString method is available in object class and it's already there, because if we extend any class or not, object is a super class of all the classes. So here toString already available in the object class, so it is a override. So after the overriding, what I am writing here, returning a customer CID equal to something, cname equal to that cname, email id equal to email id, phone equal to phone, city. So but here the constructor we don't have CID, we have CNAME, email ID, phone and city, and but here I'm going to add CID also, but this is a global variable, so if we not provide anything, then by default it will take some default value. Okay, I just save this code, and here the same thing, I'm not going to change anything. So before of that, it will be show this com.visual.hibernate customer @ something. So now if I run, so we see that it will be showing something like a customer CID equal to 0, CNAME equal to Amit and all. So here before of that, before implementing toString is there, so and after that it is so like that, customer CID 0, because we not initialize by that parameterized constructor. So by default integer value is 0, so it is just showing 0 here. So CNAME what we provided, email ID what we provided, phone and city all are showing here. So before of that we not override toString method, so it is using a object class toString method. So inside that some logic is there, through that it will be show this kind of value, but we overwrite it and we will, or we want this type of object. So if you want to see exact what object is stored, then you must override that toString method, and when we will you log it, or when you use that system.out.println, during that time a toString method will call, and what you wrote that logic here, through that it will be show here. So I just want to explain, this is a very basic concept. If you want to understand Java, then you must have a knowledge about object class, all the methods like equal, hash code, toString and all the other methods. So go through that, all the object class methods, what they are doing. So now we are not dealing with this thing. So here I just want to explain about this thing, because we are going to deal with the POJO classes. We want to just create one standard POJO classes. So what we created here, we just created a 5 field with CID, CNAME, email ID, phone and CT. We added here a default constructor, because some Hibernate runtime system, when they are instantiated and when they are doing some internal operation, that time they are using a default constructor also, and for this we are going to initialize our customer class and instantiation also, and other getter setter is there. We can see that we going to utilize it or not, but we just add that getter setter and toString method here. So after that we will write this lab1. This is a main. So what I already explained about you, that 4 object configuration, session factory, session and transaction. Through that we can create we will establish the persistence operation. The same code what I explained before of that, it is here. So we just create a transaction inside the try. So once we create a inside the try, then what happen, that if some exception will become, then we cannot call transaction.rollback. So because of that we have to put this transaction outside the try, because we want to do this with that object, we want to call rollback, and that is not come in this block. So because of that I put the transaction out, other than all code will be inside the try and catch. So here the same configuration, CFG equal to new configuration, that CFG2 will call the configuration, and here we will call the build session factory through creating a session factory, and that object will call open session, that session object is created, and after that we start the transaction, that already created transaction is here. So session.begin transaction. So transaction is started. What I did, I created one object with same 3 object I created, and what I am doing here, so here no need now this kind of thing. we can check that object, what that object going to store or not, what is the integer type. So now we just check that. No need this one also. So through that session.save, customer 1, customer 1, customer 2, or customer 1, customer 2 and customer 3, customer 1, customer 2 and customer 3. No need this system.out.println now. After that, just commit and just close the session. So this is the code that will be automatically store our this customer object inside the table. So which table it will be store, how it will be take a connection, that we have to specify. So you just put outside here that all code inside that com.visualpath.hibernate. After that you have to put this code inside the src. So here what we have to put, hibernate cfg.xml. So here hibernate cfg.xml, that is a means a standard name. So all the configuration related thing we have to put hibernate.cfg. cfg means configuration.xml. So here what we have to provide, we have to provide driver class, that we are going to use MySQL, URL where we are going to use, that is a localhost, and what is the port running, that is a 3307, and what the database is going to utilize. I am going to utilize a visual path. So I already used here visual path, database visual path, that I used visual path. Now we don't have any table here, so no, nothing is here, but I am going to utilize a visual path. This is my port number, this is a visual path, this is a localhost I am going to utilize. And what is the username, this is a root, and what is the password of that MySQL, this is a admin. After that, what is this, dialect, that is the main thing. So it will be automatically generate a SQL to particular query. So what dialect we are using, so we'll say that Hibernate we are going to utilize a MySQL. So you just convert what the query we will provide, what the operation we will provide, you will generate related to MySQL related thing. So after that we can add show SQL true, means what the SQL will be generated by Hibernate, it will be show under the console. And next thing is there, hbm2ddl.auto create, means if we add this line, we no need to create a table and all things. So that table automatically will be created by Hibernate. After that, this line, this is an important line. Here we will add another file that is called hbm.xml, that is a Hibernate mapping.xml. So this is also a standard. So whenever you going to write any HBM kind of thing, you must add like a customer.hbm.xml, employee.hbm.xml. That naming must be a hbm.xml. Like that name is must be a configuration.xml. This name is must be a hbm.xml. Even we can add any name, it will be not affect anything, but as a naming standard we are going to utilize like that only. So we have to add a mapping through that resource particular name. So one more thing I would like to explain here, that is selected line. So when we are going to implement a core, here we have to write a mapping resource something. When we are going to use annotation, the only one change is there, we will write same mapping but not a resource, we will write a class and that particular class name, particular complete specify path like a com.visualpath.hibernate.customer will provide here, and we will close that session factory and we will close the Hibernate configuration. So under the Hibernate configuration, session factory is there. Inside the session factory we have a driver class related information, URL related information, user ID, password. We have provided a dialect, so we are going to use a MySQL. Here I wrote show SQL because of we want to see in all SQL inside the console what the SQL automatically generated by Hibernate and how they are going to utilize it. This one related to automatically table creation, and through that table will be automatically created. This one we have to add that mapping file, so I just added resource where we are going to utilize core application. So we'll specify the complete specified path of HBM class. So we must understand about HBM also. So HBM is there, customer.hbm.xml, com.visualpath.hibernate, com.visualpath.hibernate, after that customer.hbm.xml. so customer.hbm.xml. so this is another XML file. Here we have to provide information related to customer object and what table they are going to utilize and what field that automatically when they are created the database, what the field they will utilize and what is the primary key. So here when I created a customer object, we not instantiated by a primary key. So customer have a CID, but we not instantiated, we not initialize that CID here by this parameterized constructor. So automatically will generated here. So first we will add Hibernate mapping, that package name com.visualpath.hibernate, where our this class is available, that package name we will provide. After that class, this main customer class. So this information, all package, class and all related to particular customer object that we going to map. So name of that class, package of that class is com.visualpath.hibernate, name of that class is customer, and what table we want to create. We just want to create a customer core, like we want to create a customer underscore core. So now here no table is there, empty, 0 second, so nothing is there. So we want to create a customer core, I want to store the information. So CID we not initialize, so CID how it will be generated, so that information we have to add. ID, start with ID, name, CID. So what column you want to generate when that table will created, we want CID itself. So type, what type this CID, so CID is just an integer. So generate class algorithm, what the algorithm we are going to utilize, increment. Various algorithm is there like a UID, HILO, many algorithm is there. Even that algorithm is not sufficient fit for our application, then we can write a custom ID primary key generation algorithm. But basically and initially we will start with that very basic concept. So class increment, so when the first will be added, it will be primary key 1 2 3 4 like that. So that class we will mention here, class increment. So primary key automatically will generated through that ID, name, column, type and generator class equal to increment. After that we will store all the property, like a property name equal to CNAME, that CNAME map with here, this CNAME, email ID, phone and city. So all thing we have to mention here, CNAME, email, phone and city. So this kind of thing, this one is a optional, like a scene. If CNAME is there, then if you want to what the name you want to create on the table, what the column name, or nothing is there, then automatically the CNAME will be added. If you want to change something like a email ID is here, so I would like to generate like a email, so you just add column equal to email. Like a same thing is, if you want to specify the particular type, if you not specify the type, it will take automatically what the type of object we created here. So phone we just want to create a double, city just want to create a string. So this related information of that particular customer we will store here. So this is a mapping, HBM means mapping, Hibernate mapping package we have to provide. After that class, Here particular class name have to provide. Here table, what table we are going to create, that table name we have to provide. Here under the id we have to write a generator algorithm, what the algorithm going to generate a id, and after that all field that we that going to utilize in persistence operation we have to add here. So this main class we created for just for our checking our logic, so not required here. So this is a done, this code is done. So here we see that customer class, this and this, don't see this class right now. Now it is a done and going to do the operation. So just clear this one, again we will check that. So nothing, no table is here. So we just run this code, just right click and run Java application, because we have the main class, so we'll run it. So we'll see that because we wrote this true, so SQL true, that reason we see that SQL. So inside the code we not write any SQL, we just session.save and pass that customer, but it generate this SQL automatically. Insert into the customer core this table name and C name, email ID, phone, CT and CID, that value is this one. So it is automatically generate based of that what we will wrote here, and it will be generate through that what dialect we add under this property. So MySQL query is automatically generated and stored here. So we see that here if really that value is stored under the database or not. So we'll see that show table, yeah, one table is created, before of that no table is there. So customer underscore core is there. So we'll see really some value is stored here or not. Select start from customer underscore core. Spelling mistake. Store from customer yes. So we just check that, select star from customer. Yeah. So what the value we store here, like Amit, that the email ID, phone number and city, that is stored here, and CID 123 that automatically will create it. We'll just check here. So we created Amit, this Amit @visualpath.com 94000 and Chennai. So it created Amit @visualpath 94000 and Chennai. So CID we not instantiated, so it's automatically generated by here. That mapping document, what class we added here, increment, so it is automatically generated. So this is a very basic concept. I would like to explain one more time. Here just create that object you want to store, write the field, add the default constructor, add the parameterized constructor, through that you are going to instantiate and initialize. After that just add setter getter. If you want to further some operation, then it will be happen, and you just write to a string method if you want to see that what the value it is stored, that it is a useful. But main thing is that only this three thing, you just add all the field, you just create default constructor, just create parameterized constructor. After that, here you just create configuration, session factory, session and transaction object, and you just create that object you're going to store on the database, and just add session.save. That one operation, save, and after that transaction just commit and just release that session.close. If during that something will happen like Amit is stored and this is not stored, or any operation will not successfully, then we just roll back it. If transaction did something but it not fully update the value or store the value, then we'll do that rollback. Under that, if exception will generated and transaction have something, then we'll just roll back. So this is the code. But one more thing I would like to explain here. So whenever we going to do this, for example, I am going to store that customer object. Then again we have to call configuration cfg equal to new configuration dot configure session factory dot build session factory. But as I explained before of that, it will be create a code duplication problem and all kind of thing. So what we have to do here, we have to do move this is under the some other class that is called c-hibernate util dot java. So we'll delete this thing, and what we will do, we will add one c-hibernate util. So what the c-hibernate util is doing, so any name you just add, and you have to do one initialization kind of thing and one factory method. So this is a singleton and this is a factory method. This is a singleton and this is a factory method. What here I am going to explain. So here a static session factory, because we are going to return a session factory, so I just wrote a static session factory. Even you can write this one private. So private static session factory, and under the static block inside the try, just create configuration cfg equal to new configuration cfg equal to configure and factory, this factory here cfg dot build session factory. So this static block will be called only once when the class is loading. After that it will be not create. So any time in one JVM environment, it will be this block will be called at a only one time. So only one time that will code will be call, and that instantiation and initialization happen, and factory method will be created. So this factory object we will return through that public static session factory get session factory object, and we will return that factory. So here I added a static, so through that class name we can directly access this one. So I here initialize this factory object through inside static block, and after that we are returning through factory method. So this is a singleton pattern and this is a factory method, that is a returning a factory object. Here private, this field is this one. We can change anything, but here our means target is that code duplication will remove. So we already removed here, so we need that session factory object. So we just session factory we need. So how we will get it? Through that class name c-hibernate util dot get session factory. So we will get the session factory object. Okay. So session factory equal to c-hibernate util dot get session factory, and after that session factory dot open session and session dot begin transaction. After that same thing. So I just want to change this value and we'll check that value is changing or not. Like Amit, Sumit and Mohit. So we'll check that again here. So now it have C name Amit, 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 all are the Amit. 3 value is there. Okay. So this time I would like to store more to value, like 4 and 5 also, like Rohit and 1 XYZ. I not remember same pattern name, just XYZ. Done. So we'll do the same thing here, just save it. 4 and 5. Again we will check here. So now it have Amit, Amit only. That table name is customer underscore core. Now we'll run it. First we'll clear that console, that we are able to easily understand what the query they are generating. So just run Java application. See that this time 5 query will generated. So 5 insert query generated, and we'll see here. Yeah. So value is changed. Amit, Sumit, Mohit, Rohit and XYZ. What the value we store? So it is shareware. And here some log pattern is there. If that will be generator some create means some like we will miss that password, we provide a wrong password, and we run it. So we'll see that it will be a clear message is there, access deny for user root @localhost using a password. Yes, so we are using a password, but we are providing a wrong password. So some warning is there, log4j warning such property kind of thing is there, and some template is there. So we have to add this log4j dot property, and very few information we have to add here. We can get anywhere this information, and it is a very helpful to generating a particular type of log. Even the Hibernate is providing a very point to point exception, so through that we can easily solve our problem, what exactly problem is there and how we can solve it. So here we can see that Hibernate exception and we can understand it. So I would like to explain one more time how I develop this application. So developing this application, you must have one MySQL. Inside that MySQL you must create one database. So I already created a database visual path. So you just type a command like create SQL and SQL create database, and that database name like a create database visual path, then automatically visual path will be created. So after that visual creating this visual path and this configuration of MySQL, we have to right click and create one Java project, and inside the Java project you just have to add all particular Hibernate related jar file. So just search in the Google particular like a Hibernate 3.1 or Hibernate 2.1 or Hibernate 5.0 jar file, and you can download all the jar files. After that we will move to the Maven also, and we will check that without adding this jar file how automatically we develop a application. But here initial program we have to add all the jar files, and after that we just right click here in the src and we will create a package like a new package, and we will provide some package name com.visualpath.hibernate, and after that we will create one customer class or any class that you want to store, and we just add all the field that going to store here. All the field we have to create one primary key field, so that field you not going to initialize through that parameterized constructor. So this primary key CID I am not going to initialize here. So you have to create a default constructor, you have to create a primary parameterized constructor other than that primary key, and setter getter is optional, to a string is optional. This thing is not required. After that this C Hibernate util either you will create or not, it's not a matter, but if you create it will be a good programming effort, and it will be create your code. It's very good and high performance kind of thing, and so I recommended that you will create this kind of a structure. So it is a very easy, whenever you want just take through that session factory, get session factory, and you will do that operation. So here lab 1 you have to create a session factory object, either you will get through that Hibernate util, either you will write all the code like a configuration cfg equal to new configuration and configure and build session factory, and after that session dot open session, here transaction dot begin transaction, so transaction is started. After that you just create all the object that you want to store under the database. After that just call the session dot save, predefined method available in the session class, so just call that save, and after that just call tx dot commit and session dot close. After something will happen, then just roll back. So here that configuration Hibernate cfg.xml is there, so it's a configuration class. You have to just add all the information related to database like a driver class, URL, username, password. This dialect means what the database will be going to utilize. Through that automatically SQL will be generated, and so SQL if you want to show the value inside that here I show that. Just 1 minute, I run this one, and again we will see that. Yeah, so you want to see this kind of messages on the console, then just add this true. I'll just delete it first. We'll run one more time. Now we see that message is not available here. Again add here and run. So now that what the query they are generated we can see under the console, so that is related to this one. So SQL true, and this HBM2 DDL auto means we not created manually here table, like create a table, this table name, a customer code, that CID, CNAME, email, phone and CT, all kind of thing. So it is automatically created by Hibernate, so we have to add here HBM2 DDL.auto and here this thing, and we are going to utilize core, that reason resource is there. If we going to utilize annotation, then no customer.hpm.xml is there. So we have that customer object one, customer class only. There we have to add all the related thing what we are going to add here, customer hpm.xml. So that time we have to add here resource. We have to replace resource with class. So we will add here class and we will provide a complete classified path of particular customer class. And after that we just close session factory and this kind of thing. So customer is there and all. So that is a very basic concept. So if you go through that step by step, then you can easily understand. Here we have to just deal with that 4 object that I am going to tell you again and again, that only 4 object is very important. That is a configuration, session factory, session and transaction. After that we can understand the Hibernate. Means that Hibernate is very easy if you understand behavior of that 4 object. So the next example, next lab, I will explain about how we can convert this Hibernate code to annotation and how means we can easily understand that. Till now I'm going to, so thanks. So this is the applications. This is the first lab and I explain about the theory also, Hibernate, why Hibernate came. Already we have a JDBC and why this object relational mapping tool is more famous than other ORM tools, and I go through that code also. And we added this Hibernate util, we added this singleton pattern, we added this factory pattern also, and we see that how automatically MySQL table generated and how that stored the value. Just try it, go through that video and try to understand all the concept. Till now, thanks.